See, I'm wearing this high-tech shit around my neck, and it's like I'm trying, like I was trying to look cool, and then I realized I looked even goofier. Oh well. All right, kids. This I wasn't gonna make this video. This is actually a pretty serious video that I want to talk to you about. A real big subject when I was growing up. They would made a big deal about it, and it was really, really like something that it was like every facet of my like. I didn't go to middle school because I went to Catholic school, so we just went to first to eighth grade, and then to high school. So, but every facet of my like that area of my life was had this terrifying, like it was like a pterodactyl of fear that hovered over. I don't think pterodactyls can hover. It's a hummingbird. But see, that a hummingbird is not scary. Okay, forget it. So it was just like a thing that was over us that was scary. And it was, wait for it, drugs. That's right, drugs. And when I was a kid and Mr. T said, I pity the fool that does drugs, I was like, I pity him too, Mr. T, because I love you so much. I don't know why I loved him. He was just some guy, he was just some guy wearing a lot of jewelry and had a bad haircut, but he was cool. I mean, when I was a kid, he was awesome. And then when Gary Coleman sat on Nancy Reagan's lap and she said, just say no. Just say no, Gary Coleman. And fuck, I mean, that whole show, nobody said no on that show. I mean, poor Dana Plato, like I did this like Catholic thing, but I'm not Catholic. I'm very, very atheist. Or we'll talk about it. But anyway, so drugs was like a big deal when I was growing up. It was like they're gonna offer you drugs, and the first one's free, but after that it'll cost you. And like I was growing up, and for a long time I didn't like worry about it because none of my friends cared about drugs. We were just hanging around in Annapolis, Maryland, riding our bikes and like hanging around, like. Annapolis, Maryland had this like big like area where it was just like there was like a bunch of old wrecked schools, and so like there was like places where there were like collapsed sewer drains and stuff. I mean, it was weird. Like it was the best place for a kid to grow up. Like everywhere was like a fucking magic garden. You like went in your backyard and it was like you turned a corner and there was like some fucking cave. It was really, I'm telling you. And that's where Chaz, I told you about Chaz in the other video. He is a good guy. I wonder whatever happened to old Chaz. Man. Old Chaz and his little brother, who was worse than him in a lot of ways. But I don't even want to get into that. I was like shocked when I heard about the things that they did. So anyway, but anyway, back to the drugs. Sorry. So we were just having fun when we were kids. We weren't doing drugs. Were we? I think one time we did try to like fry up banana peels at my friend Joe's house because we thought you could get high if you smoked the banana peel, but that might have been later. That might have been in high school. We were pretty pathetic. I mean, I don't know what you know. Annapolis is this little tiny town, right? I don't know what it's like now, but when I was growing up, it was this little tiny town that was basically like a harbor and then a downtown area. And then there was the Naval Academy. Everybody knows Annapolis because of the Naval Academy. There's like a movie called Annapolis. And then there was like other schools. There was St. John's was a college that was there. That's where E went. Yeah. And it was just like a little cool town. And then it kind of stretched out, and then there was Eastport and like other places and like, but the main downtown area, if you were rich, you lived downtown. That's where my friend Joe lived. We all hanged out at his house because his house was on the corner of some street and he had like the coolest house. It was his old house and he had all this stuff and his dad was a doctor and he had a computer and like we just fucked around at his house all the time. It was the best. Man, we made all kinds of messes and just like made plans to like take over the universe. Oh, we had a good time. I don't know what Joe's doing right now. I periodically I check in with Joe. He'd be surprised to see me how I am now because I was pretty terrible for a long time. He was like I was just a mess. So he'd probably be pretty surprised to see these videos. Or maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he'd be like, finally, you caught up to the rest of us. Fuck off. So anyway, I'm already at 6 minutes. Shit, I haven't even gotten to the point. Drugs! Drugs were bad. So we didn't really do drugs, but we knew that drugs were bad. And that was the whole thing. Was like we just knew that they were bad. We didn't even know what drugs to do. We knew there was like marijuana. We knew there was LSD. We didn't know what the fuck you would do with LSD. I thought maybe you would like, I don't know. I thought that, well, what I found, it was on paper. I kind of figured you ate it. And then I was like, no, do you stick it to your head? And then there was like, what other drugs? Heroin? No, you do heroin in Annapolis. I mean, I'm sure there was. I'm sure there were junkies left and right. We were just like doing, like aerials over them in our BMX bikes on our way to school. We didn't give a shit. We were like little kids. So yeah. I don't know. We didn't do drugs. Okay, so the point is, nowadays there are a lot of drugs out there. And you're going to get called to do drugs. And I'll tell you what the worst drug is in the world. And it's not what you're going to think. It's not heroin. It's what is that gator paste or whatever they have in Russia that like makes your bones like dissolve? Yeah, well, it might be worse. That might be worse. But the thing I'm talking about is alcohol. Alcohol is just fucking I mean, I know it's fun. I can't really remember how fun it was because it's been like fucking 5 years since I've had any fun with alcohol, really. So I don't even understand it anymore. But it's just a waste of time, It's just you just drink and then you get fat and then you get angry because you're fat and you're hungover and then you feel bad and you get the shits and it's like. Who needs all this for like a night of like hanging out and maybe going woo a few times, So seriously, alcohol is like the worst drug. But that's not what I'm talking about either. Marijuana, I mean, here's the thing about marijuana. Everybody's like, oh, marijuana never killed anybody. And I'm like, yeah, no, marijuana never killed anybody, but marijuana is a dangerous drug because I am pretty sure I have come like this close to like destroying the entire universe at least 3 times while I was high. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was like putting together the mathematical equations in my head to like destroy the entire universe. So it may not be kill more people like because I'm like fucking driving on it or beating somebody up. But I mean, if I'm going to cause a cataclysmic like black hole scenario because I've like done the math in my head, that's a problem. So it's not a safe drug. Be careful with that stuff. None of you kids go out there and get too smart. Go inventing shit. Cocaine is a good one. Cocaine is a good one because I tried it once, literally like once, at a party in Annapolis when I was working at a liquor store. That was a good time in my life when I worked at the liquor store and like, walked out with my car. It was the 90s, so you wore cargo pants. So like, I was like, well, it was early 2000s, but I was wearing cargo pants a lot. So, you could like walk out with a lot of bottles in your in your pants pockets. And I just got rolled all the time. Anyway, but I did cocaine at this party with this guy that I knew working at the liquor store. He was awesome. He was like the coolest guy. And he was my first black friend. And the thing about him was that he and I got along so well. We could like have gone on adventures together. We could have like fucking sailed the 7 seas together and had a great time. But like, I was this alcoholic loser and he was this like black guy. And like black guys are just all like awesome, like in general. So he just had all his awesome black friends and like they and like I would show up at these parties as this like, chubby kind of downer alcoholic and be like, what do you bring the white guy for? It was so nice of him to bring me to these parties, but like, I didn't have any right to be there. I was not cool enough to be there. He had all his cool black friends and they were all doing their black stuff. And I was just like sitting there like watching skate videos and like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. So then they were like, hey, do you want to do some coke? And I was like, I guess I better because I'm not really doing anything else. So, I mean, I snorted some coke and it just was like, and like, I'm a hyper guy to begin with, but man, I went super hyper and like started talking really loud and like, it was just a disaster. And then I went down and I remember we ended up on like the playground and I was like spinning on this like swing around and around and around and around and around, like talking. And everybody was like, somebody just shut Kevin up because party's over and it's like done. And so cocaine, whatever. If you want to like do it and like go and like experiment sexually or something, that's probably a good idea to do a little coke. Get yourself up for it, but don't get addicted to it, first of all. Because why would you? Why would you want to feel like that all the time? And don't do it too much at once. It's just low class. But that's not the drug I'm talking about either. That's not the thing I'm talking about either. And as far as like heroin and stuff, it's never come up. If you want advice about it, go find somebody else to talk to you about it, because I don't know shit about it. I mean, I was fascinated by it because, you're in college and I was reading William S. Burroughs and shit and like reading Junkie and like Naked Lunch and thinking like, oh yeah, the Beat Generation. And I'm like, and I thought I was pretty cool, but like, I did think I was pretty cool. I might have been a little cool, actually. But the thing is, like, I don't know. It didn't sound like the kind of thing that I wanted to do. The only thing that sounds kind of nice about it, he says, like, as soon as you do heroin, like, you lose a bunch of weight real fast. All your weight just falls off you. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, maybe I just do a lot of heroin and then lose a lot of weight and then stop. But I don't really want to risk it because I've already been through one whole like trial with addiction. It's not fun. Just don't get addicted to stuff, kids. It's not fun. It's not worth it. Okay. So finally we've gotten through it. And then there's like window grease and Apoplex. I don't know. Or like DMA, I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff that I haven't tried. Oh, I tried shrooms once. That was a great time. I did that. That was a very spiritual experience. But it, like, not really. I knew it was happening, but it was pretty cool. Like, I was in the desert and, like, flipping out with my buddies. My friend Greg Ringa. It was, like, he's still my friend. He lives on the other side of the country, but He's a cool guy. He's a great writer. Oh my god. One of these days I'm gonna have him write all the prequels to the book that I'm writing. He's gonna be like my second guy when it comes to that. Because he's got he could pick up the voice, I think, pretty well. Anyway. So that said, what else? Okay, so we're coming down to it now because I'm at 15 minutes. This is too long. So here's the thing that I need to warn you about drugs, okay? Kids, if you are going to do drugs, all right? And I know you are going to because it's something that everybody experiments with. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. And you might find that there are some drugs that like help you out in life and like make things work for you. But one thing you have to avoid if you're going to do drugs is this. Popcorn. No drug is good on popcorn. I mean, popcorn plus drugs is just not good, okay? Oh my god. If you are like high and you eat a bunch of popcorn, you are gonna feel every one of those little fucking things crackling in your mouth, okay? If you're like drunk and you eat a bunch of popcorn and you get so drunk that you throw up, you do not want to throw up like a microwave bag full of popcorn, because that shit will just rip your esophagus and it will make you pay for what you have done, okay? So, and like just everything about it, like just like the smell, it makes your hands greasy. Just stay away from it. If you're gonna do drugs, kids, be responsible, okay? This is Kevin and I like telling you right now, be responsible. If you're gonna do drugs, stay away from popcorn. All right? All right. All right. I love you, my juice glasses. I will talk to you very soon. I'm going to spin in circles for a little bit here, and then I'm going to say, I'm going to see you in the funny papers.